Hello everybody, it is Calxiyn here. I know I sound sick, that's because I am. I'm not going to sound sick for the rest of this video because this video is pre-recorded, but some Patreon stuff changed, and so I wanted to, actually update the names of my current patrons and stuff, so I hope that's okay. I hope, that you guys enjoyed this video and don't mind that I sound gross. We have Silver-Eyed Warrior, Ash Carlton, I'm so sorry. Headmaster, Frankie, Huntsman in Training, Emmy Cat, and new recruits Solly, Wade, Flashy, Rage Factor, Rooter, Jess, Totally, Panic, Sunny, and finally $100 patron Alex. And so yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy. That's all I had to do. So I'll see you later. So, I don't know, Hunter. What are your first impressions before I start going into the evidence?
No.
Is that it? You don't want to even say why?
Well, I mean, I don't see... Obviously, she's affected by the events of... the events of the fall of Beacon, but she still seems to very much so be herself. She's still very committed. She's still very well put together. It's the Yang that I feel has PTSD.
Okay. Well, let's go into the evidence, right? All right. So, PTSD is diagnosed after a person experiences symptoms. Here, you control things.
We're professionals.
What did I say? Experiences symptoms for at least 1 month after following a traumatic event. Go to Station 2. They're dying. Go help them. However, symptoms may not appear until several months or even years later. The disorder is characterized by 3 main symptoms. Re-experiencing the trauma through intrusive, distressing recollections of the event, flashbacks, and nightmares. And so, for Ruby, we kind of see this a little bit, she can hear Kira's voice while she's sleeping, and there was all that, yellow particle shit. And so we know that the second time, that was because Jean was training. Yeah. But the first time, she heard it, and there was this, magical dust, that she was seeing, or that she thought that she was seeing. Remember? There was that, yellow, glowy stuff within her eyeballs. That doesn't make any sense. So, it seemed more like it was a dream or something. So emotional numbness and avoidance of places, people, and activities that are reminders of the trauma. So, we haven't really seen much of this. She did leave home, which could have been a traumatic place for her because Yang reminded her of things, but more for her leaving was more for to help out, you know what I mean? But I guess she was kind of trying to get as far away from Yang as possible. She's on another continent. Yeah. But I don't think that's the reason why. Yeah, it's just something that she's done.
If I can interject, I feel like Cinder is what caused this attack, and so she's not moving away from Cinder. She feels she's moving towards it. She's trying to face something that was traumatic for her.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know because, if Beacon hadn't fallen all the way and they could still go back to school and she chose not to, I think that could make an argument for it. But, I feel like everyone's different, And it says it's characterized by 3 main symptoms, but you don't need to necessarily have all the symptoms of a disorder to have a disorder for someone to diagnose you. You don't need to have every single one, because not all of them may be, applicable to you.
This is from someone who's a registered therapist. Oh, wait a minute, no. Never mind, sorry.
What? What?
What I'm trying to say is, are you entirely, qualified to make that statement?
That's just from what I understand from people that have talked to me about how they diagnose things. You don't need to have every single, depression, sometimes you get, you eat a lot and stuff, so you get, bloated and things like that. That's, I don't remember if that's registered, as a symptom on most, websites and stuff, but, that's not gonna be everyone, you know what I mean? Some of the stuff that may characterize someone with depression, that's not gonna be everyone, it's just kind of a guideline, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't have the symptoms for depression in front of me. That's the only thing I could think of was that, stuff with food and stuff like that. I think was remember. You know what I mean?
Overeating and undereating are both.
And so, yeah, overeating and undereating, what?
I need pencil crayons.
Okay, we'll go get them. Sorry, guys, that's my sister. Anyway, speaking of sisters, so yeah, I don't think that she left Yang for that reason. But again, like, I don't think every single symptom needs to be present for her to have issues. You know what I'm trying to say? The last one is increased arousal during difficulties, such as difficulty sleeping, concentrating, feeling jumpy, and being easily irritated and angered. So we see that she wakes up twice. Like, when we see her, she wakes up from that nightmare, sort of like, hearing Pyrrha's voice. And then she also wakes up when she hears Jean training. So it kind of, it seems like she's a very light sleeper, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like every time we've seen her, she's been woken up by something. And I don't know, like, to me, it seems like that this fits well with her because she has had so much trouble. Again, when we've seen her, she's had trouble sleeping. But there's other activities here, like, is concentrating, feeling jumpy, easily irritated. Like, those aren't really RWBY traits. I feel like concentrated, though, she hasn't been fighting as well as she has recently. I just feel like she's been fighting
harder foes. Like,
yeah,
she
like,
fought
it's debatable
Tyrion
whether
and
that...
Nuck.
Yeah.
So I think she's still okay, you know?
But she wasn't...
Because she did a really good job about that giant monster.
That one's a stronger one. Especially, like, the sleeping part. Like, you would agree with that, though, right? Like, the first... Like, every time we see her and it's nighttime, like, she's like, oh, I'm awake, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like that she's having trouble sleeping, like, all the time. And that could be, like, Grimm-infested woods, you know? But people sleep in woods where there are bears. And I know the Grimm are not like bears, but they are similar enough that I feel like it's okay to make a compare. You know what I mean, though, Hunter? Like, it's kind of iffy because of the situation that they're in, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, like, she can't sleep. Mm-hmm. So it seems kind of obvious to me that the sleeping one really kind of, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like that she's also not near the place of the trauma. Like, she is going back to Cinder, but she's gotten basically far away from Beacon as possible. As for everything else, reoccurrent distressing dreams in which the context or effect of the dream is related to the events. Note, in children there may be frightening dreams without recognizable content. So, like, that's something that she's been dreaming about Pyrrha, so obviously that's something that has been, like, bothering her. As far as, like, distressing memories, like, that she remembers, like, suddenly remembers something that's happened, and so she, like, has a panic attack and stuff like that. We haven't seen any of that, but I feel like the dreams may be something that is almost, I guess, almost like, it's almost that we can see the start of something, maybe. If they decide to go in that direction with her, that this is the hint that something's not all right. You know what I mean? Because the other stuff is, like, flashbacks and, you know, just being in distress and stuff, and we haven't seen that. We see that more with Yang, because Yang definitely has some PTSD, because she has everything. She has the dreams, she's trying to kind of get away, from everything herself, like, she has the flashbacks, like, she has basically all the symptoms we've already read out, but I feel like in RWBY it's gonna be a bit more subtle if they decide to do this. Like, I feel like they're gonna try to play her like everything's okay, but really on the inside she's still kind of traumatized from everything that's happened and stuff. It depends on how they do her, because a lot of people have thought that maybe, like, because the Silver Eyes on the Tower was kind of a breaking point, like, we've kind of discussed that it's more of a breaking point and not being upset about Pyrrha dying necessarily, because she wasn't that close with Pyrrha. Like, it was still upsetting, but she was much more close to Penny, and that didn't trigger it, so it was more the amount of stress on her at that time made her Silver Eyes trigger, and so I feel like that breaking point may be later discussed as something. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not... It would almost be similar that she's been trying to say that she's okay this whole time and she hasn't been, and there will be another breaking point where you know, everything starts coming back to her and she starts being in distress again. Something like that.
Maybe, although...
It depends on how they play her, because right now they're playing her more as a child. Like, if you guys have noticed, we haven't done a video on this yet, but there have been complaints with Ruby's voice, that she sounds more like a child, and before she just sounded like a young girl, but now, like, Lindsay's making her more childlike, which is probably what they were going for at the beginning, but it makes her sound really childish and less of just, like, a kid, you know?
She sounds less nasally now.
It's just... yeah. I don't know how to explain it, but you guys have probably seen the change as well. Some people don't like the change because they feel like it takes away from Ruby's character, and so if they are trying to make her more like a child in voice and then in how her arc goes, then maybe they won't do this because that's pretty heavy, and they're also doing a similar thing with Yang. But I do think that that would be interesting to see that, like, she is one of those people that makes herself so stressed that there becomes a breaking point instead of everything stressing her out in the moment. Like, everything just builds up and it kind of explodes on her. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like it's possible. I think that it's possible that she does, but we haven't seen all that yet. Not yet, anyway. I think it'll be interesting too if they decide to go in that direction. Other PTSD things is the inability to remember important events, but we haven't seen any of that. Negative beliefs or expectations about oneself, and she hasn't really shown that yet. Basically, I think that we should continue to monitor this as the show goes on and see if she has any other symptoms, because there's a lot like blame, like persistent fear, detachment, like from others, inability to experience positive emotions. Like, if she keeps getting worse, then we should kind of keep an eye on it. Like, I feel like there will be a part 2 of this video in RWBY Volume 5, just because we don't have all the information yet, but we have a hint. We just kind of need to see where the hint goes. Like, maybe Volume 5 will come and she's perfectly fine and we're all wrong, but it would be more interesting if we gradually saw, as, like, the further we go, she has more and more symptoms of this. At least that would be more interesting to me. And so to answer your question, Frankie, because this was the video I think that he wanted us to do, I think that she does, but as far as my, like, impartial vote goes, it could easily go either way, I think. What do you think, Hunter?
I feel that, I disagree with you. I don't think that RWBY has PTSD. I think she's a very stable mind. I think well...
Oh, no.
Hunter, get my water bottle!
Oh, no. Okay. Hunter, do you want to keep, talking for us?
We're so professional.
I know.
Sometimes we just, you know...
You guys didn't see that, but
I mean, you didn't, but you heard it.
Christmas cards, projects, anyway. So, continue what you were saying while I try to save this somehow.
Steam gift card.
Use the Steam gift card. Yeah. So,
sometimes you just gotta... What happened there? It glitched and RWBY was just kind of hunched over and shaking. No, I mean, I'm fine. I think RWBY's not.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, like, do you think it's because they won't go in that direction, or do you think that she genuinely doesn't have it?
I just think she genuinely doesn't have it.
Okay, because sometimes, like, she should have stuff, and then the writers are like, nah, man. Like, we're not gonna do that.
Also, like, I feel like she...
Like Christmas cards. Yes, Hunter.
I feel like, not to say that having multiple characters with PTSD would be, you know,
they're already
oversaturation.
Doing it with Yang, right?
It's that they've done it with Yang. They've done it very well with Yang.
You don't want them to
oversaturate a theme,
yeah.
maybe. Also, I just feel like part of the reason why RWBY was still very hopeful and Yang wasn't is because Yang was sort of disarmed. And couldn't really fight, or felt like she couldn't fight, or she gave in to despair, and I think that's where she gets her PTSD. Not that I even really know anything about PTSD. Between you and I can say this because Cal left the room. We're totally the last people that should be making this video. However...
I mean, I think that we know as much as you can find on the internet, but we haven't, I don't think either of us have had like
and
personal experience with like getting our arms cut off and
except for that one time in Nam, but I
being
digress.
having a traumatic event. I don't even know if they can hear me right now, so this is fantastic. Anyway, do you want to wrap it up for us, Hunter?
All right. Yeah. So, don't have PTSD, children. I think that's... Anyways.
Is that a good message to end the video?
Yeah, why not? Try to avoid it. Don't get into firefights. If you see someone attacking your high school with, swarms of monsters, just, turn the other cheek.
Do you want to do the outro?
Sure, I've heard you do this outro like hundreds of times. I don't remember how you do it.
Hey guys, sorry I have to cut out Hunter being funny. Seeing his outro was actually really funny. But anyway, I needed to update the outro like I said at the beginning. So we have Silver-Eyed Warrior, Ash Carlton, Headmaster Frankie, Huntman and Trainee Emmy Cat, New Recruit Solly, Wade, Flashy, Rage Factor 13, Rooter, Jess, Totally, Panic, Sunny, and $100 patron Alex Y. So yeah guys, I hope that you enjoyed oh my god, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I had to redo the outro and I know it sounds different and yeah, I'm sorry. I'll see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.